One of our favorite hymns is "What a Friend We Have in Jesus."
Good morning, friends. Unbelievably, this is the 17th time that I've had one of these mini messages on Facebook. Whoever thought we'd still be doing this after such a length of time? As we start to integrate back into society like we once did, I sure hope you'll be very careful to mind what you believe to be the right way to do that and how fast you should do it. These past few weeks, I've been forced, I guess you might say, to allow some things into my own field of vision that normally wouldn't have made the cut. And I have to admit that I've been surprised at just how many of those things have come to feel like they're essential to me now. You know how it is when your life is going along like it used to. You don't have the ability to notice everything at once, and so your eye and your mind it just picks out what it chooses to be the most important. So if I would be really accurate about that, I suspect that your mind naturally picks out what is the biggest, what looms the largest in your field of vision. Your mind doesn't choose what's most important, but what is the loudest, the brightest, and the noisiest to be the most important. And that probably, I suppose, comes from prehistoric times. Who wouldn't, of our ancestors, wouldn't have quickly just dropped everything they were doing if they happened to catch a sight of a woolly mammoth coming their way? So the instinct to pick out the big things is not necessarily useless. But I want to tell you two things. One is that the biggest and the noisiest are not necessarily the most important. And second, even when they are truly important, a human being can't tolerate in your body and your spirit having nothing but big threats in your field of vision. Taking time to slow down and notice the nice little things, those quiet things around you, is not just a nicety, it's not just a pleasant pastime, it's essential to your spiritual well-being. That's been one of the biggest lessons for me in this confinement time. The confinement has kept me home, like you, and I find myself sitting next to the big picture window here in our living room, where I have spent rich time reading and journaling and meditating and watching the birds at the feeder just outside the window. And I've been so enriched by a diversity of visitors. 3 couples of yellow finches, of purple grackles plenty, and a blue jay, and an orange Baltimore oriole, 2 or 3 couples of cardinals, and several red-headed house finches, those hyperactive chickadees, and a pileated woodpecker, and a downy woodpecker, and just the other day, 2 grosbeak couples came with that startling red bib. What an array. That parade has brightened these tedious days. It's caused me to be grateful instead of crabby. It's filled me with wonder where there too often is complaint. And generally, it's made me a better person. That's no small gift from quite small creatures, I'd say. And I've always undervalued their worth. My point is that from small things can come the very biggest blessings, the biggest insights and benefits that larger, noisier, brighter things can't give us. I suspect that you have your own list of things that perhaps come recommended to you. They're wrapped in glitter and they dazzle you with their lights, but they offer you too little for too much of your time. And I suspect that you also have your list of things that have so much less pizzazz, and yet when given a place of priority, they reward your heart like nothing else, and your spirit with the choicest of gifts. In the next to the last chapter, in the next to the last book of the Old Testament, Zechariah, the Hebrew people were suffering from years of dislocation and separation from one another in their own country. And finally, they were allowed to return home and get back to normal. Sound familiar? Zechariah was trying to encourage them and give them a boost and some advice toward recovering their identity and their purpose and rebuild what was destroyed. And part of that advice was this word: who dares to despise the day of little things? My encouragement to you is to not forget the blessings and the encouragement that comes from small things. Things that may not be understood by anyone but you, but that nurture you. Time alone, time reading a book, time in meditation, time in the backyard or taking a walk in the park, time for just being with no particular agenda. I'm talking about the kind of time where you can listen to a still small voice of God that says you're loved, you are valuable, you are essential, and you belong. I hope you can find that time, not just now during the confinement, but as a regular part of your spiritual life. Let's pray. God, give us the grace and the wisdom to find that perfect time that nurtures us. Amen.
What a Friend We Have in Jesus is not only one of our favorite hymns, it is one of everyone's favorite tunes.